Oh, man. Fucking Jonathan. So you said you've never been on a podcast before?
I've never been on a podcast, no, sir.
Man. Have you ever gotten invited to be on a podcast?
You know, the closest thing, maybe that's a lie.
Okay.
In 2021, I have a friend who's really close. I'm really close to. Her name is Miley. She was starting off, and it wasn't necessarily a podcast. It was something small that she was trying to do to just interview a bunch of people, kind of similar to what you're doing.
Okay.
You know, and so she gave me the opportunity to speak. It was in the middle of the pandemic still. Nothing's really going on in life, and that was probably the most out of every day. It was recorded. I don't know where it exists. It's out there in the ether somewhere. She may have taken it down. I don't think anything ever really became of it. So as far as something that's as beautiful as this and it's an actual setup, no, sir.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I'll definitely take the compliment. We were actually just talking about it before we started recording, just kind of like the costs that go into doing a room like this. And so one thing I did hear you say, though, was like, maybe you should do this to your room. Is that just because your brother wants to start a podcast and you could do it there? Or is it something you would use for your profession or whatever you're up to?
Well, no. So my brother, obviously we don't live together. He lives with my parents. But my dad has a pretty large warehouse. And in that warehouse, there's multiple rooms. And one of the conversations was, my brother's always gaming. We should just build him a game room and have him film it. And not to monetize off of him per se, but give him the ability to see where it goes, right? If he's going to be playing video games online anyways and watching other people play video games, why can't other people watch him play video games?
Yeah,
and capture that? And then as far as just my home office, like I have my home office pretty set up. It's basically this. It's all nice and it's comfortable for me. However, it's not set up for me to do a podcast or have people come over. So it's a thought. It's a thought.
Is that something you've ever thought of doing?
It's something I thought of doing, yes. I don't know if I'd want to do it at my house, though. Personally,
taking people over to your house and stuff.
I would want to do it at my house. And my office is in Glendale. Could I do it at my office in Glendale? Yeah, sure, why not? I don't know if everybody would want to travel to Glendale. Again, it's a thought.
And so the office you have in Glendale, though, like, because obviously you're a financial advisor, New York Life. I'm going to, actually, before we even get this going, tell me a little bit about you. What do you do? What are you up to? And then I'm going to ask you that question.
All right, well, first of all, I'm a child of God.
Okay.
First of all, I'm a child of God.
Okay.
I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. So those are the things I bank, myself on. I don't like to tie who I am to my profession. Yes, this is what I do as a profession. This is how I feed myself and how I provide for others. However, that's not who I am. Again, child of God first, a son first, and then a brother and then a friend to the community. So those are the things I pride myself on. How do I be the best son? How do I be the best brother, friend, person in the community to be relatable to and to others can depend on. But beyond that, yes, my profession, I help people in the form of financial planning. So I have multiple licenses across the board in insurance as well as finance. With all those licenses, they allow me to help people get things like life insurance, set up retirement accounts, help with wills and trust, to make sure they do the things that they're probably not going to do on their own without some help. What that does for me, it gives me purpose. I never had a career that I felt purpose in. At least right now, I feel purpose. Even if and actually I do with you, you have life insurance with me, let's say. And so God forbid something were to happen to you, I feel like I had purpose because I would be the one delivering a check to your family. And you may not have got that life insurance if it wasn't for me. Yeah, you reached out, but a lot of people don't reach out. Usually it doesn't become a topic until I bring that up.
Yeah, of course.
And then let's fast forward. You lived. I hope you live. I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was able to help you invest your money and build some type of retirement account and or just side investments that allowed you to have a little bit more financial independence, that gives me purpose because I was able to provide you that help. Again, same thing with you. I find tremendous value in what you do as a barber because the better I look, the better I feel. The better I feel, the more money I make. So my barber is extremely important to me and my success because nobody leaves a barbershop feeling bad about themselves. If you're depressed, go get a haircut. If you're feeling bad about yourself, go do some type of self-care,
Yeah.
go out into the world, look your best, and you will feel better accordingly. And even for just a second, if you could keep it going, then, you'll have a better day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, there was something that you said right now that I don't want to skip over, right? Like, and I don't know if I've ever really thought about this when thinking of like people who sell life insurances. You said that you deliver a check to that family, like it's literally you. Like if, like for example, I know I have life insurance with you, right? God forbid something happened to me. It's you personally that delivers that check to that family?
Yes. As long as I'm still with the companies I represent.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So this is the process. God forbid you pass away. I get a phone call because your beneficiaries have already spoken to me or already have my information and they know, man, Josie died. We need to call Jonathan. They call Jonathan. My job is to say, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. Walk you through the process of getting the death claim. We have to go to the claims department, right? Show the death certificate, all that good stuff. I'll send that and I'll do all the paperwork for you. I'll get the information. I'm the middleman. You have two options. You could get the check directly sent to you, the bank account. It could be wired or it could be mailed to your house, or I could process it through the company myself and actually physically deliver the check as the agent. Hey, Joe's family, here you go. I'm sorry, but at least I feel my purpose has been filled because he had it with me. And now I can look at your family and know they're going to be okay. In the sense of the financial part, because obviously nobody can replace you, but at least we know that they're not going to have to sell the house or move and change schools and change their whole world because dad's no longer here. And, something we talked about earlier, when you're a man, whether you're a dad or not, we're all providers for somebody, providers for ourselves, providers for our families. Even if I don't have kids right now, but I do have my family that depends on me. And, whether it's financial help at times and all that stuff. So I want to make sure they're set. So the responsibility of a man and a provider does not stop, at least for me, with being alive. If I'm dead, I want to be able to still provide at my death and have a legacy, right? It's all about, we see all the, big Tommy Lasorda right there. He's got a legacy, right? He lives within the Dodgers. You're never going to forget that guy. How is the community and how's your family going to look at you when you're no longer here? And again, the life insurance is big as far as legacies for the family because it shows who my dad really was or who my brother really was. He cared. It's the greatest love letter. One time I saw a podcast and I forgot who they were interviewing, but they had asked the guy, what's the most romantic thing you've ever done for a person? And the guy said, oh, I put this girl on my life insurance policy. And they laughed at him. He's like, no, that's the most romantic thing. I want to make sure if I'm good. He's like, that's the most romantic thing I could do is, here you go. You own my life insurance policy. Don't kill me, but
don't
you
kill
own
me,
my policy.
but yeah.
Exactly. So those are the things that are important to me.
Okay. Those are things that are, so I guess one of the part that I was really curious, well, before I get there, I definitely get where you're coming from with that, right? Like I definitely get why you do what you do, how it aligns with who you are, right? Like I really like that you separated that in language. Usually you ask people who you are, what do you do? They talk about the profession. So you distinguishing that your profession is not who you are was super dope. And I can see how your profession aligns with the person that you're trying to be for your family, for your environment, for your community, and how all that ties in, right? And so I definitely got all that. For me, the part that I had never really thought of, right, that I wanted to get curious with you is one, that you said that you're the one that gives the check, right? Like, and two, have you had to hand any of those out?
Fortunately, no. Fortunately, I have not. But I'm still young in my career. So, I've been doing this for, just over 5 years. So very young in my career. So that is a good thing. But I will tell you something that stuck with me, which is, so I never had to deliver a check, but I have had people pass away that did not take me up on the opportunity to get life insurance.
No. So you've actually like met with someone, right? You told them about the insurance. This is what I'm getting. You told them about the insurance, and at the end they were like, you know what, Jonathan? I think I'm good. And you were like, okay, and you left, and then like,
yes, or good for right now. So like, nobody wants to be. So at the end of the day, I'm an advisor, but at the end of the day, it is sales. It's me trying to show you, and I guess it's sell you on why you should have these things. I don't like to sell anybody on anything. If you believe in it, you should have it. I'll give you all the information you need to know to make an informed decision, and I hope you do because I believe in it. But also, I'm not here to change your religion. Some people don't believe in life insurance. Some people think that.
Why is that? I feel like is that a Hispanic thing? Is that like what is it? Because I do get what you mean, right? Like there's a lot of people growing up, and even now that I'm getting up in age, I don't like saying I'm getting older because I'm not. Right? I'm just my age is moving forward.
Maturing. I'm just maturing.
Right, my age is moving forward. Right. Now that my age is moving forward, like I see that there's still a lot of people that I know that don't have life insurance, right? And so why I'm really curious with you as to what you've learned so far, whether through research or through experience, as to why, like a lot of us, and maybe even just a Hispanic culture, why we don't get it. And I asked this because there was one thing you told me I'll always remember, always. You said, right, if I passed away, I wouldn't want my kids, if I had kids, or my wife to be throwing a car wash just to pay for my funeral expenses, right? But one, I had never really thought about it like that, right? But two, what you said that stuck with me, you said for possibly more than likely, especially for someone my age, right, 38, $20 or less a month, and you get enough, right? I don't know if it's 60, 80, 100, whatever it is, but I do remember you telling me you get more than enough for all of your death expenses to be covered, right? And so it's like no car wash, no nothing, no headache, no stress. Like the way I seen it when you told me was you can almost allow for fucking $20 a month. You can allow your family, right? Like the people you care about the most to grieve, to just fucking grieve. Right? I can't tell you how many times because I'm a barber and I fucking talk to a lot of people. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to someone who's lost their parents or lost a parent, right? And they almost can't even fucking grieve because they're so worried about the financial aspects of everything, right? So I had those conversations before you and I spoke, but it wasn't until you said what you said that all of those conversations came to me, and I was just like, dude, like, why don't we? And I say we because prior to you telling me that, I couldn't tell you I really seen it that way either.
Okay.
Right? But so why do you think as humans, as Hispanics, as adults, we don't see what you had me see that day?
Well, I think it comes down to experience. Like you just said, you never saw it that way until I said it, which is why it is important for me to speak to a lot of different people, to put it on the table and to say it like I spoke to you, or maybe I worded it a different way to them, whatever way speaks to them that makes them think, oh, wow. Because maybe if they see it the way you saw it, I really got to get this done. You know, just putting it into perspective. On the other front, I'll say oftentimes I just had a conversation with a buddy of mine, owns a big gym. He's actually getting a second space for the gym. It's growing. He's got a wife. He's got a young baby. And I even had a conversation, hey, bro, let's get you some life insurance. You don't have it. I know you don't. He's like, I don't. He's like, but I don't want to die. So it brings mortality to the table. Oftentimes we don't want to look at our own mortality. I think if I have life insurance, I'm going to die because I have it.
Why do you believe that is? Because that one is interesting to me, right? Like we all, like it's fucking cliche.
Yeah,
you almost fucking know shortly after you're born that you have the
death
possibility of death. Like
death and taxes.
You can't escape. I get it. But why? What do you think it is about like having death face people like that has them so resistant?
I couldn't tell you. I wish I knew, because if I knew, I'd be able to,
Sell more life insurance.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, exactly. I can't, but that is something that I've been told, like, hey, because like speaking to him, I don't want to die. Sometimes I think it's an excuse. Sometimes people just want an excuse, or unfortunately, the life insurance industry itself actually has some negative connotations to it. Like there's a lot of, without saying so, because I don't want to dog anybody who's trying to be better, right? But there are companies out there that work on like more of like a pyramid model that, where it's all about just selling insurance, but the level of education those people have is very lacking. Most of them get paid more by recruiting others and to sell them life insurance and have them and then making more money off of them in that regard. I mean, I don't recruit anybody in my business. I'm not here to recruit. I'm not here to sell Joe life insurance and say, hey, Joe, if you want to make some extra money, why don't you get your license and then you can sell it? It's like the level of entry for some of these companies, and I'll say it, Primerica. You know, Primerica is a big company out there, but if you look at the agents that they hire, it's, hey, just don't have a felony. Just don't have a felony. Go get a license. So pass the test. The life insurance exam is pretty easy. And then go sell life insurance to your friends and family, but then also recruit people. And if you recruit them, you'll make money off of the people they sell insurance to. They'll recruit people, sell insurance to them, so on and so forth. And then it's this pyramid, right? And that gets those people more focused on recruiting rather than being the best agent, being the best knowledgeable, person in that arena that they can be. And then oftentimes they're lacking because they only have one. They'll say they're financial professionals. So a lot of life insurance guys will say, I'm a financial strategist or I'm a financial professional. And you kind of are because, life insurance ties into money, but that's only a license you have. I spent so much time to have multiple licenses, investment licenses. I've been to multiple ongoing training as a financial planner to come across a variety of different topics. I know for a fact I'm knowledgeable. I don't know everything, but I have access to people that do know a lot more than me. And I also have access to the education I need readily available through like a university program I have and in-person training that allows me to be so, again, knowledgeable about all these different topics other than just life insurance. I'm not here to just sell you life insurance, Joe. I'm here to talk about, let's get a budget. Let's get you a sound budget. Where's your money going out, coming in? Is there a deficit? Is there a surplus? Okay, how can we make it more of a surplus and less of a deficit? How can we systematically pay off your debt one by one? Okay, great. Now that you're debt free, let's invest because you can't really invest if you're in debt. Right? You're on an escalator. You're trying to go up, but you're coming down at the same time because no investment is going to earn you more than the debt on the credit cards. If it's credit card debt, right? If it's non-leveraged debt. And then beyond that, do you have life insurance? Because again, all the money you make means nothing if you're not here to make it. So again, let's cover you on that. That's done. Okay, great. No debt. Let's start investing. What type of investments are there? How old are you? What's your risk tolerance? Let's go from there. Is it mutual funds? Is it ETFs? Is it crypto? Are you super risky, right? Do you own a house? Do you have a business? Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? And then I'm able to ask all these different questions and then package it together and send you off. And okay, let's go implement.
Real quick, how easy is it for people to answer all of those questions?
If they're adamant on working with you, it should be pretty easy. If I send you a file that gives me all your budget information and you just got to fill it out, it's as easy as filling it out.
Yeah.
So as long as you do the homework and fill it out, I can build the plan and we can execute it. It's no different than if you have a dietitian or a meal coach and you're like, I want to lose weight. Okay, great. What's your body fat percentage? How tall are you? Let's figure out your macros. Do you want to be in a calorie deficit?
Yeah, I get it.
Or surplus? Here's the plan. Follow the plan. Execute. But you can't, just like a diet, you can't lose the weight or gain the weight without a plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with money. How can you expect to be financially free or independent or get out of debt if you don't have a plan? If you're just going out into the world and you're just shooting from the hip like a lot of people do, you're going to be going in the same circle for the rest of your life. You need a plan. You need a plan with your diet. You need a plan with your wife, your spouse. Hey, where are we going to go? Let's check in with one, whoever it is. What's the plan? In any subject in life, you need a plan. How am I going to get to here? If I don't know how to do it, then let me reach out to somebody who knows how to do it. And then however honest I could be and give them all the information they need to help me prepare, I give them all that information. So the people I work with, I try to find those people. Yes, I'll help people if they just want, hey, I can only do one thing at a time. Okay, let's just do one thing at a time. Let's just make sure that you have life insurance. Maybe we're not ready for investments and consolidating your debt and paying that off, but let's just do this. 6 months from now, we'll do the next thing. 6 months from then, we'll do the next thing. 2 years from now, hopefully your engine's going and you're just going up. Life's going to throw some curveballs at you like we talked about earlier. Something's always going to come up. But again, we're prepared, by being proactive. That's a saying I always say. Be proactive, not reactive. Don't wait for something to happen to you. Be prepared for it to happen, right? Recently, I got one of those fire blankets for my stove. Like a fire happened after the Palisades fire. I'm like, well, do I have a fire extinguisher? Like, yeah. So I bought this fire. Again, being prepared. I'm not expecting a fire, but I have a fire extinguisher, right? I'm not expecting to die, but I have life insurance because people depend on me. And also, even if somebody doesn't depend on you now, so a lot of young people will say, I don't need life insurance. I'm so young. Well, life insurance is based off age and health. Who's healthier than someone young? So if you get it while you're young and healthy, you can lock in the rate at a really, really low price and only pay that low price for a long period of time. So that way you're not out of pocket a lot. When you mentioned earlier, is it like a Hispanic thing or in the culture? It's twofold. It's a lack of knowledge, but then it's also, I'm going to say, lifestyle for the older ones. Tortillas, beans, all that stuff, it leads to a lot of unhealthy diets, hot Cheetos. So then you have the health factors. So you think about most people's grandparents, like how healthy are they in their 60s or 50s, 60s, 70s? Usually they come with a lot of medical problems. They have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all those things tend to disqualify them. So now when they want it and they start thinking about it, they don't qualify. Or they finally call somebody like me, they get quoted, and it's super expensive because they waited too long. And now they're like, well, life insurance is too expensive. But that's because that's when they learned about it. They learned about it when they're unhealthy or when they're older. And yeah, it was expensive. But if they got it 20 years before, it would have been extremely less expensive and they would have locked it in. Right? So it's having these conversations just like this. And again, I'm not trying to change anybody. If you don't believe in it, then you don't believe in it. I don't care. I'm not trying to sell somebody life insurance if they don't want it. You don't believe in it, you don't. But you better have something because you will die. So either you got a really big bank account or a really big investment portfolio, but you will die. Whether today or tomorrow, I don't know. But again, and that's just something we have to accept.
So earlier you were at the beginning of when you were saying what you were saying, you were talking about financial planning, right? I know that in conversations I've had, and even including myself in the past, and even now, I can't tell you I'm so clear on it, right? But I feel like a lot of us, when we think of like all of the things you just said, you know, you're this, your 401k, your retirement, your blah, 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 like, because you said a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
Right? Because you said a lot.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of lower middle class people, which is most of the world, right? Look at that and think, oh, that's for the wealthy, right? That's something that, I know that exists. And I know you can make money off of life insurance. And I know that it's great for retirement. And I know that you compound interest. And some people are kind of educated on this stuff, right? But I feel like a lot of the conversation is still like, oh, but that's really for like the wealthy. That's really for the people who who can afford to have that, right? And so for people that are in lower middle class that do want to at least begin, right? Like doing anything like that. Like, one, how do they do it? And two, like, how do they see the value of it, right? Like, how much does somebody need to make, right? Like, if somebody came to you and said, I make 20 grand a year, right? Like, and I'm able to like fucking put 500 away, right? Like, is that something you take on? Or like, what would you say is like, how much money would somebody have to make for you to be like, okay, like, we can work with this? And in 30 years, right? In 30 years, when you're 60, you're 50, right? This is what it could look like.
So it's twofold. I would never turn anybody away. There's always something I could do for you. Maybe I'm not taking on your managing your account solely, right? Because I have assets under management where people give me their money, it's invested. I manage their accounts. We make calls. Hey, listen, the market's doing this. Let's switch accounts, whatever. And those are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and things like that. But yeah, somebody who just has $500 a month. That doesn't mean I can't coach you on opening up a Fidelity account or opening up a TD Ameritrade account and just getting you started. We will do what's important to us. To what you said, a lot of people are lower income, middle income. You're right. But we also do what's important. So if I were to ask you, and let's just say you were in that situation, and I asked you, Joe, are things hard right now? Are things hard right now? Are you having a hard time paying the bills? Is your family struggling right now? Yeah, John, it's real hard out there. Okay, how much harder do you think it'd be if you weren't here? Be a lot harder, right? So we should probably look at it. And again, let's just look at it. I'd rather you look at it as far as the life insurance goes, because again, we already know life's hard already.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something you can do? Because I'd probably argue that you probably spend maybe, especially if you're talking about Hispanics, buy a 24 pack. How much does a 24 pack cost? $20. Again, how much they go into, right now, bars are expensive. You go to the bar, $30, $40, $50 a date. I don't step out the house and spend less than $100.
Mm-hmm.
$100 is an adult 20, right? It's like,
Yeah.
To fill up your gas tanks, $80, dinner for two with no alcohol, maybe conservatively, depending on where you go, $30 a plate. If you tie in alcohol, that's going to be $16 to $20 a beverage. You're going out, you're spending $150 at dinner, right? So even for the lower class, it's more so just trying to do something.
And just so I'm clear, you're saying life insurance would be that first step?
Life insurance is always the first step to anything, because again, I want to protect what you have first. Before we try to grow, we got to protect what you already have.
Mm.
Right? So the first step, again, if your family is struggling, you have nothing, it will be that much harder. So let's find some type of temporary life insurance that just covers you at least for the year. Because there's a lot of different life insurances. You can get term, which is 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
You get permanent that lasts forever. And you can just get a pay-as-you-go plan. You can literally get life insurance year by year by year. Hey, I'm this age, this is my health. I'm just going to, so again, and that reduces the cost exponentially, but at least I'm cool for a year. And I'm only going to pay this bit of amount, and I'm going to swing it. And I have to swing it because, again, it's more important for me to have it than it is for me not to have it. And that guy who's worried about his family's security because it's hard now, he definitely doesn't want them to have, as a man, picture yourself looking down. Nobody wants to look at their family and watch them do the car wash, if there was something that they could have done.
Yeah.
There's always something you can do. Let's just say there was absolutely nothing somebody could do. Let's just say, for an example, somebody that has an extreme medical condition and there's no way they can even get life insurance, then obviously that's a different topic. They won't qualify. Even if they did, it'd be really expensive. Okay, so let's just try to figure out ways to put money in the bank. Or, again, pivoting careers. Again, it's a hard topic as far as the lower income, because as far as what they're able to do professionally, it's very limiting. If I only have a GED and I'm only qualified to do XYZ jobs, well, then I can only earn a certain amount of capped income for the rest of my life. So at that point, for that individual, it's like that's a personal problem that they have to figure out, how am I going to make my life better? What kind of schooling do I need? What type of education can I get? Or, trade school to get into a profession that will change my life for that person, right?
Yeah.
But also, again, for those people, times are hard, and maybe they can't afford it at all. Maybe they are just penny pitching and just looking to the couch cushions. We've all been there. I've been there. I've been, I've been there. I've been pulling change from the couch just to put gas in the car or do laundry before, I didn't have a laundry in my house, so I had to go to laundry. I remember those days, right? But those are the growing pains of, getting to a better place.
And so you say you've been, only because of you're saying like where your past was, what you've been through, right? You said you've been doing this for 5 years now. Would you say that now is 5 years the journey from the moment you started, the moment you said this is what I'm going to do, or 5 years you've been doing it already licensed?
Already licensed.
Okay, already licensed.
Already licensed.
Your journey was what? 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah, maybe 6 years, a year of like exploring my options.
Okay, so like 6 years is when you decided to do this.
Considering it, yeah. There was a year where I had spoke to a company and I really didn't like what they had to say. They were going to pay for my licenses. Hey, we'll pay for your license.
Yeah.
We'll do that. But upon interviewing them, I spout a lot of BS.
Okay.
And so I was like, I want to be in this industry, but not for that company. And I don't want to owe anybody anything, right? That's very powerful in itself. I don't want to have to work with you just because you paid for my license.
Got it.
But I was okay, this industry could be good. So I went out and I got my license, my life at the time, my life accident, my health license, just to see where I would go, right? Again, I have a license to drive. Well, I don't have a car yet, but let's just see what kind of car I can get, right? Similar. I have a license for this job. Where am I going to go? Fortunately, that's where I was recruited from that day, where the company I work for now, where they reached out, they recruited me. They explained everything that they had. And in comparison, to the first company 100 times what that company could even do as far as education, more licensing, and just access to things that I could have never imagined.
Overall helping you with your growth.
Yeah, I would never even imagine I would even have access to the things I have access to now.
Okay, and in 5 years, would you say it's, well, one, are you already at a point where this fully sustains your lifestyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. How long did it take for that to happen?
A long time. I'll tell you this. I barely, maybe a year ago, barely became able to breathe. Just to breathe.
So 4 years.
Yeah, but even that now, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not sitting here right now telling you I make a bunch of money.
No.
I'm not here to be like, hey guys, I make a bunch. But no, it's still a grind. I'm still in my career. I'm still humping it. But again, it's because I am in a career where, and mind you, what was 5 years ago? The heart of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. You know, but it was kind of a good thing because if everybody was worried about them dying.
Yeah, that was a year.
Right. Hey, Joe, everybody's dying right now. Yeah. There is a virus out. Do you have life insurance?
No,
maybe you should get it before they say we're not even accepting life insurance because everybody's going to die.
So talking about that, I've never even thought about that. So being that you were in that industry, would you say that did anything happen with life insurances that year other than you guys sign more people up? And I'm just saying that because sometimes when there's like disasters, insurances will raise their prices and stuff. Did that happen the COVID year? Would you say that you've seen a price hike in insurances?
The funniest thing is, no. Okay. And that's how I knew it was a hoax. The whole time, I knew it was a hoax. I'm like, I sell life insurance. The company's not talking about not insuring new people. They're not saying, hey, we're not taking on any new clients. Nor did they say, we're if anything, the underwriting was kind of expedited because the process still is, depending on how much you get, there's a nurse. So they'll go to your house, take your blood, take your urine. But when everybody was fearful of people coming to their house, at least with my company, we were still underwriting those people, even without blood and urine.
Wow.
We were saying, you know what, no blood, no urine, whatever.
Cool.
Company was taking on that risk. So again, you're in a time where if everybody's going to die, and the company was now again, I work for the number one company in the country that has multiples, billions and billions of dollars. Maybe they could afford that risk more so than other companies, but still, they took on that risk. Not only are people dropping like flies, but we're also going to insure new people, no blood, no urine, whatever. But then that's why I knew it was a hoax, because I was like, well, if everybody's going to die, then who has the most to lose? Life insurance companies.
Of course.
So if life insurance companies have the most to lose, why are they still insuring people? And why are the prices not up 20-fold? Like, they would lose a lot of money, but no, they're still insuring people. It must not be that bad because these are big financial institutions, and if they're going to take a hit, they're going to mitigate that risk. But they didn't. So to me, the whole time, I'm like, this is a hoax. And again, it's debatable. Again, I'm on the side.
We're having a conversation about this.
I've never been vaxxed. I've never even been tested. I've never been vaxxed. Was there a time where I was sick? Most definitely.
Yeah.
Did I go get sick
every year?
Did I go get tested? No, because worst case, hey, you have COVID. At the time, there's no cure.
That shit mentally fucks with you too. Like, why would I want to know?
Yeah, there's no cure.
It's not going to kill me. I don't want to know.
Yeah, well, even if I do have, okay, great. Is there a cure? No. Okay, well, then what's the point of taking a test? Tell me. At the time, it's like I'm not going to take the vaccine. I remember. Fortunately, I knew. It's good to know people. I had a friend. She was a nurse, and she was in charge of a vaccine clinic where they would give everybody mass vaccines and give out little cards. She gave me a stack of cards. Right.
Yeah.
And just, for me, my friends, family, and write dates and a fake COVID pass, because even she as a nurse, she believed that this was a hoax and she was running the clinic, but she wasn't going to do it herself.
Yeah.
And so what was in her hearts of hearts wasn't to listen to the authorities. It was like to go up, listen, if I told her I wanted the vaccine, she'd have no problem giving me the vaccine.
Yeah,
but also I say, hey, I'm not really sure, but I need this stupid card to go eat in LA.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here's a card. Right. And again, that didn't last that long.
No, that one didn't last
long. But that goes on, how we need to be as individuals, because a lot of people are order followers. Let's look at the Nazis in Germany, right? Hey, I'm just following orders. You know, so if that girl was just like, I'm just following orders, I can't give you a card unless I vaccinate you. No, so fortunately, surrounding yourself with independent thinkers would alleviate a lot of stressors, right? So at that time, that's how I felt. She gave me cards to get to my family. But again, if I wanted a jab, I would have taken a jab.
Yeah, you would take a jab.
You know,
speaking about independent thinkers, why do you think that would have even been done?
what?
The hoax.
The hoax? I mean, it's a conspiracy theory. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that. I'm not going to sit here and say like it's all. What do I? Again, it's fun to talk.
I mean, people died. That it was serious. That it happened. That people passed. Yeah, absolutely.
I lost my grandfather during that time, but he was also a diabetic, and that was one of the precursors that if you have pre-existing conditions, it'll be worse. And that's understandable. I'm not negating the fact that exists. What I do negate is what I don't subscribe to is that saying that a young, healthy males, or young, healthy people in general need to take, or for anybody. I don't like the fact that it was forced. The second you forced it and made it mandatory was the second one was like, no, as an independent person, I don't like anybody. Like you lost me right there.
But what do you think anybody had to gain from that? Like the group, the entity, the
whatever.
What do you think they had to gain?
It was subsidized by the government, right? So the government gave a lot of money towards it. You look at Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine didn't work out. But again, all these companies that made a lot of money. Yeah. Even hospitals, right? Hospitals said if you died from COVID, they got a certain payment from COVID deaths. So if I died in a motorcycle accident and you tested me and I had COVID, I didn't have any.
Now you get more.
But hey, that guy died of COVID. Like, no, I died in a motorcycle accident. I went over the bars.
So what I'm getting is you believe ultimately the main intention was financial. It was just financial.
If it was indeed on purpose, it was a social experiment to see how well people would line up and follow and profit. There's an old saying, never let a good disaster go to waste. And I think Churchill said it once. It might not have been Churchill. It might have been somebody from that time. And there's two ways to look at it. Like if there's a disaster, then there's ways to solve and get through the problem. But then there's some that view it as it's a way to capitalize on it, right? And I take it as it's a way to capitalize on it. Again, I had a girlfriend during that time, and she capitalized it. She spent the whole time bedazzling mask all day in the living room. So she made money on it. She made money. I mean, the masks were like these little masks. They weren't the N95 masks that, there was just, again, if you fart and I can smell your fart through your pants, I could probably get, the mask.
Get COVID through the mask.
I'd probably get COVID through the mask too, right? So, that was
the part that always trips me out, right? Because I mean, I get like the conspiracies and all that stuff, right? And I'm asking you about like, what do you think the ultimate intention was? The part that trips me out was that like, I can absolutely get if it's like a country, right? But I mean, I wonder if, again, hypothetically speaking, right? If it was a hoax, right? Like this was worldwide. It was worldwide, right? And so like, how do you get some world agreement that this is going to go down, right? Or did somebody just go rogue and say, fuck it? And
no, I mean, I think we could all agree if you look, the world isn't even ran by politicians, right? Like politicians and government, they might set certain things, but it's not ran. Again, if I'm a billionaire, I mean, next to, okay, let's say Elon Musk is a billionaire, okay? But think about all the billionaires in the world. It's like if you're a billionaire, are you into politics? No, but you also have enough money to give to a campaign to get what you need done.
Yeah.
So let's say the World Economic Forum all got together and they want a one world economy, and they want a one world digital dollar, one world financial system, and they want to just have all the power and own everything. They could do that, right? Get together, I would say it was definitely it had to have been a collaborative effort and not a single one.
Not a single one.
It's definite.
Now, how do you think we did on the test? What I mean by that, right? Like let's just say it was a social experiment to see how we reacted. Like now, 5 years later, conversations you have with people, right? I believe that the year it happened, maybe even the year afterwards, my perception was different than the way it is now. Right? So for you, now that 5 years have gone by, like, how do you think we did as a social experiment? What do you think came from it?
I mean, I believe it's horrible, but hindsight's 2020 as well, right? Like now looking back, we could all say, we were all scared in the beginning, right? In the beginning, when there's no toilet paper, there's no meat, shelves are empty, we were all scared, rightfully so. We didn't know.
Absolutely.
Like to see it like that, like we were scared. Like we didn't visit family. It was, but again, as time progressed and you did get sick and you realize like you're able to like kind of filter through and work through it. Unfortunately, some people blindly just trust the government and trust what they're told. And you should never do that, right? I would never say that the government has the best, our best,
Our
needs,
interest,
our
yeah,
interest
our
forward.
interest in
Yeah,
that.
So again, I think we did horrible. But the cool thing is, I think a lot of people do realize like they were convinced, changed their mind, and if something happens again, they're less likely to obey. Kind of like the whole cry wolf story.
Yeah.
So the world cried wolf. We believed it until everything comes out. Now we know. So you'd be hard pressed to try to do something again and have everybody fall in line like they did originally. You still have a lot of people because again, there's a lot of crazy people that still wear masks to this day and are still kind of, and that's fine too. I mean, again,
it's acceptable, whatever. Of course.
Again, if that makes you feel better, and even if it does eliminate whatever, even as a placebo, because placebo experiments are done all the time.
All the time.
So even if a mask or whatever as a placebo makes you feel better, well, then wear a mask. Again, I don't care. But don't tell me I got to do it. Like, again, I don't care. But don't tell me I got to do something because that's when you lose me. When you start telling somebody who's just confrontational by nature, doesn't like to be told anything, don't tell me I got to do something because that makes me naturally want to do it. I'm going to try to sift through as much information as possible. Yeah. But we think we did horribly, but I think hindsight is good that I think, again, we'd be hard-pressed to fall for something like that again.
So do I, man. So do I. And, right now as you were speaking, right at the end, you said, I'm going to find out more information and then, like, make my own decision from there. One of the things that I believe in that really made a difference in the way all this went down, I believe, compared to, like, maybe past experiences in history, right, is social media. Right? What I mean by that, like at the beginning, right? Especially, I do remember the government trying to get involved. I remember all the censoring of everything, like, oh, this may be misinformation, this may be this may be that, right? And for like a good 2 years, I felt like whatever entity. Well, I'm not going to say whatever. I'm going to say the government, right? Because I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast with Mark Zuckerberg that they just did recently, right?
They hid information,
and they were like, what I got from what Mark Zuckerberg said was, it was like the government, right? The administration at the time that was like, they were coming to us and they were like asking us to suppress this stuff, right? They didn't want us listing any side effects of, and it's like, well, that's the truth. Like if those are, why can we not like list it, right? And so I feel like if social media didn't exist, that social experiment, that hypothetical social experiment would have went much different. And I say that because I feel like eventually enough of people's voices were able to get out there to where like anybody trying to hide it just couldn't hide it, right? Like all the information about the jabs, right? All the information about side effects, all the information about what the vid did or didn't do, right? Like just started coming out. And more people started hearing the experiences of other people. And I feel like that's what now gives us that hindsight of like, nope, that shit's not happening again.
You're 100% right. It came down to the social media. If social media didn't exist, we wouldn't be able to have opposing arguments. And again, Joe Rogan is probably one of the biggest ones that was like opposing it. Then, But again, if there wasn't a Joe Rogan that exists, like we wouldn't like maybe it's like we would have listened. It made us think more. Maybe we wouldn't have thought as independently as we would like to. But because he said something, it's like, oh, I put a thought in my head. Okay, that's a good point. But if he didn't exist, so I think that, that's the crazy part where they're like, if they unalive these people, right? If all of a sudden these people start disappearing, it's like, no, why?
Well, and it's too many now.
Yes.
Right? Like it's too many now, right? Like there was, other than Joe Rogan, which I would say is a big influencer, right? There's so many influencers now that you can't just like, it's not like that's, and that's why I'm saying I feel like social media is what makes like the biggest difference. Because in the past, like you just off the guy, right? Like it's one fucking guy talking, right? Like on Channel 5, like just fucking off the guy, and it's good, right? But I feel like now it's just so much harder to keep the voices down.
And it's beautiful because it allows discourse. Again, one of the most beautiful things about our country is the freedom of speech, right? We are allowed to have opposing views. And the fact that we are allowed to have opposing views allows me to listen to Joe Rogan and listen to somebody who's completely opposing argument. And that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm not blindly taking. I'm going to take some of what he said. I'm going to take some of what he said. And then I want to deep dive. What I don't want to do is just listen to Channel 11 News and say you're going to die if you don't get a vaccine, and then start being mean to everybody who doesn't have the vaccine and be rude and just subscribe to an ideology that I fully didn't research myself. Hey, that's what they're saying. I'm going to do it. Who are you? Are you a doctor? Well, this doctor. Again, look at RFK writing the book on Fauci, right? So,
what do you think about that? What do you think about
it must be true because there's no lawsuit.
Not only that, but what do you think about the pardons that were given at the end of the Biden administration?
So be it.
Did you hear about those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So be it. So, you know.
He was one of them. That's what I'm saying. Fauci is now pardoned. If they come out after him for anything.
I will say this. I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff that you and I don't know. But I will say this. I do also agree that there was a time of uncertainty, and not everything can be done right if you don't know, right? If everything's up in the air still. But I really think they knew. So I'm not trying to defend anybody. What I really try to do a good job of is being devil's advocate, because I never want to never want to feel like I'm on one-sided. I always try to be devil's advocate. So I want to be. So sometimes people are like, "Well, it sounds like you're for him." I'm like, "No, I'm just. What's the argument for them?" You know, in that time, everything was crazy. The things that they were trying to do, the pardons. It's the name of the game, man. Right? If you're at that level, and you're able to pardon somebody, then you're able to pardon them, and that's just the name of the game. These people should go to jail. You know, like so many people died and the world was set on fire, basically, as far as, you know, people losing their jobs. Unfortunately, Trump, you know, coming back saying if anybody was fired, you got to put them back and back pay. Right? If somebody got fired for not taking a jab, that back pay, dude. So that's a sense of relief too. But again, it's trying to heal the wound. But the wound should have never existed.
Got it.
Right? It should have never existed. They played with us. You know, they played with us. You know, we got.
Yeah.
But not again.
More people made money.
We got.
I think that was definitely one of those events where a lot of the rich got richer for sure.
Welcome back, Joe.
Welcome back. We had some technical difficulties, guys. That's kind of just what happens when you're first starting out at the podcast. But yeah, dude, honestly, like we'll get back to the government thing, but I just want to take a quick opportunity to talk about this, like only because earlier you were saying that like you would like to start a podcast and stuff like that. One of the things that I'm really loving about this is like the practice of it all, dude. I couldn't even tell you how many situations I've already had where I'm like, fuck the camera, the this, the that, the other. So it's definitely a journey. You're
developing a new skill.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is beautiful, because now what's going to happen is, especially, I think a lot more people, especially through COVID in the last few years, and as everything's getting more internet, everybody wants a podcast, right? Everybody wants it. But you're building a know-how through trial and error. So again, let's say I do start a podcast. I might end up paying Joe $500 to get me going. Yeah. I don't know anything about podcasts. Joe's going to know, hey, you got to get this, you got to get this. And now, again, because you went through the trial, you know, and that's what making money is. It's solving a problem.
Yeah.
Your hair is long, let me give you a haircut.
Yeah.
You want to start a podcast? Where are you going to start? Do you know how to do it? What kind of microphones are you going to use? Who's going to edit your software? Do you know how to edit? You know how to do that? All right, cool. Let me come in. Let me consult you. It's going to cost X amount. But again, I already went through it. And I'm going to try. Again, same thing like a personal trainer. I already did the work. Are you just going to show up to the gym? Do you have a plan? Let me show you the plan. And that's just how the world works in general. So you're developing a new skill that, again, it's only going to make you better as far as the communication part of the actual podcast itself. But again, the production of it. You've never produced this. Now you're producing it. And now you could have others replicate it through your trial and error. That's a beautiful thing as well. Right? So be proud of yourself on that one as well.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. It's such a trip that it naturally led into this conversation that you just said right now. You're the second person, and it's both coming from guests, right? So the episode that I should be releasing tomorrow with my boy Antonio Gutierrez, he also sells he has like an insurance brokerage company. Okay. He also does like consulting and stuff like that. And this is the second conversation, actually the third now, second in a podcast, but third in like the last 3 weeks that this conversation comes up for me, right? And it's like the conversation about consulting, right? One of the things I shared with Tony, not in the podcast, but after the podcast, was that this is a thought I've had before, right? But it really like hit me the moment him and I were having that conversation, that there's a story that I seem to have, right? And I feel like a lot of people may have this story, which I'm glad we got into because this is something I actually want to ask you about, right? I feel like I have this story where it's like, if I'm helping someone, it's not for the money. Therefore, I don't charge anything, right? And I see it so easy for a lot of people. And I'm not saying I don't feel it's a bad thing at all, right? Because I feel like making money and helping somebody, they're not related. They could happen simultaneously, right? Like they could happen parallel to each other, but I don't feel they're related, right? Like just because you made money doesn't necessarily mean this person didn't get a help. An analogy I always like using is like, okay, if oranges are selling for $5 at the market, right? They're selling for $5 at the market. And I, your friend, can get a hookup on oranges, right? I'm getting them for $1, right? An orange. And I'm selling them to you for $4, right? I feel like there's so many people that they're, whether strangers or close to you, sometimes even especially close to you, that if they know you got it for $1, they'd still rather go pay $5 at the supermarket than to buy it from you from $4 because they know you're making money. Like, the fuck, you're making three times the amount.
You know what's wild about that?
Tell me.
You know how much a pair of Jordans takes to make?
Yeah, I know.
And you're going to pay $150, $200
at the Nike store.
At the Nike store.
At the fucking Nike store.
But if you go back and see how much that Jordan was built for pennies on the dollar.
Absolutely.
So you'll pay Jordan. A company that doesn't pay for you, company that doesn't know you, but you'll happily pay them. But you won't pay me. Like you mentioned, somebody close to you. Hey, bro. Hey, Joe, you got it, bro. You know, I hate people that count your money.
Yeah.
You ever have friends that count your money? Hey, you know, it's very rude. You got it. You got extra money.
What do you mean you got it?
What do you mean I got it? I got. Doesn't mean you got it. I got it. Why are you counting my money? Why? And then that kind of goes to the conversation we had earlier. Like again, having money conversations are kind of taboo. I believe we should be able to speak to our friends and family about money, but not so much. I don't want to know how much you have. But just what are you doing with it? Hey Joe, did you have your savings account? What savings account do you use?
Do you invest in anything? What do you invest in? Yeah, you have stocks, you have bonds. What do you like?
Yeah. Oh, you're only getting less than a 1% interest in your savings. Did you know a high yield savings account exists? It works the same way. I get you 4%. I didn't know that. I just got one. Really?
Do you seem to have a lot of trouble? And only because I don't want to get off track too much. Do you feel like you've had in your line of work challenges with people not helping themselves through you because they feel like you're just making money off of them?
Yeah. Again, that's me trying to think for people. I do my best to try not to think for people.
Okay.
And this is something I learned as far as like my growth, because what I do, it is sales. Again, as far as like life insurance or getting somebody to invest, a big part is trying to sell. It is sales. It's selling you.
It is sales.
I want to help you, but it's sales, right? Yeah. It's sales. But early on in my career, like we have these your chicken list. There's people you don't want to call because you think that whatever, you think they're not going to be interested, you think that they're already set up, or you just think they know better, you think that they're going to judge you, whatever. But that's you thinking for them. I learned a while back through mentors, stop thinking for people. Just talk to them and see where their thoughts at. So I don't want to say I'm thinking for people like hey, you're going to make money off of me and seeing it as a negative. I hope they don't.
But it doesn't take much to see that. You do get that. There had to have been a time where you felt like this person, like you could help them, the numbers were there, but they just didn't want to be sold. Like they just didn't want to buy from somebody who was making money off of them.
I'm sure there has, but I can't pinpoint something because I do have like early on, my friends were like, this is the thing. A lot of times early on in these careers, you want to help the people that are closest to you. So you start with your friends and family, and that's also the network that you really have. But early on, it's like they don't really trust you because you're new at it. And then like, well, how much money are you gonna make? Is it scam? They just don't know. So maybe that's why they don't work with you.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's so much
Because they're counting your money.
because they're counting your money. At least I would hope not. I don't think I have. I hope they see it, and I believe, because I don't want to think for them. But if I'm gonna think for them, I'm gonna think about it in a positive light,
Okay.
rather than a negative
Okay.
light. And I'm gonna believe that you just know I have your best interest at heart, and I'm only trying to help you. And if the byproduct is me feeding myself and taking care of myself, well, then that's the byproduct, like anything else. If I was a personal trainer, I always use that. I like that one. It's like, yeah, I'm making money off of you, but I'm getting you to a better place.
Yeah,
So as long
absolutely.
as the end result is, so again, I'm not offering. I'm trying to educate my friend. I'm trying to educate anybody. I'm not trying to make money off. Yeah, that's how I pay myself, but in something that's only going to affect you in a positive way. I'm not selling you drugs, right?
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not selling you something that's just, I'm selling you on something, dude. I only want to help you. It's kind of like when you find God. When you find God, what do you want to do? Your role. I don't know if you're religious or not, but your role when you become a child, when your role is to be an evangelist, is to get as many people you could find and bring them to Jesus Christ and have them accept them as their Lord and Savior. Right? You just want to help them, no matter how bad off they are. Like, dude, like, come to church with me. Hey, dude, you want to do this? Like, that's your job. Same way, it's like, maybe it's not religious, but I just want you to do better. And I hope you see that. I just want you to do better, you know? And I hope you see it that way rather than me just trying to make a buck off you. Because, yeah, that's how I earn a living. But, again, it also fills my cup because I feel like again, worst came to worst, like let's reduce it down to just life insurance. If the worst happened, again, I gave that check because that check wouldn't exist without me maybe pressuring you, and not pressure, but just, motivating you to do it.
Yeah.
So I hope it's that way.
Okay, so I get it. You've
Yeah.
had some pretty good experiences. So I get it. What do you think of that, though? Because I know you've had, even if you haven't experienced it, fortunately, right? You seem
Yeah.
to have like a very good sales experience so far, right? But like, why do you think that is for a lot of people? Because I do believe a lot of people do see it that way, where it's like, if they know you're making money, sometimes it just so that you don't make money, they just
People
don't.
are haters. People are haters, Joe. People. We all have people hate. Dude, I'm a hater sometimes. And I know I'm being a hater sometimes. Like, sometimes I just know, and you gotta tell yourself, like, I'm just being a hater.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm just being a hater.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude. I'm just hating. But and then you check yourself, like, I don't want to be this person. I just want to, I want to be positive for some people. But some people are just, they don't. If their lives, again, misery loves company. So if something's not going right for them, they definitely don't want it to go right for you. But again, I'll tell you this. There's nobody ever hating on you that's doing better than you. Right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Right? Like, nobody ever, unless you're competition, maybe, unless somebody sees you as, like, if you have a barbershop across the street and, like, they're like, hey, I don't want this new guy taking it. But for the most part, if somebody's doing better than you, they're not hating on you. So again, when it comes to, like, helping people, hopefully you just surround yourself by people that are doing good, and you're just adding value to them, and you're taking the value from them. Because when things aren't going well, misery loves company, and they don't want to see you. No, I don't want you. But again, that's also a clear example of who you don't want to be a client. And again, old saying goes, you'll have more clients become your friends than you will have more friends become your client.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's an age-old tale.
And those sayings don't come from nowhere, right?
Exactly.
They really don't come from nowhere.
And it's true in my own experience. I have tons of clients now after years of being in it that were so, because again, this is a relationship-based business. It's nothing I do is transactional. So again, just because you're a client, like it doesn't end there. It's like ongoing. What are you doing 6 months from now? What are you doing a year from now? You changed your job. You had a baby. We got to roll over old 401ks. You're starting a business. Let's look at some SEP IRAs, how your business is set up, how are you taxed, all these other intricate things. But again, life's always changing. So I'm here. It's not transactional. So it makes you only surround yourself by people that are doing better.
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of doing better, one thing I thought of when I was going to have you on the show to kind of like get curious with you to see what like your thoughts were on it was financial education in school. Like I've always wondered, right? I know they have economics, right?
Yeah.
Like I know they have like business. I mean, not all of them, but my daughter, she went to South Hills. They had a business class, right? But I just feel like just like math, just like social studies, just like all that, like two things. One, that there should be like mandatory financial classes where you learn about finances. And then two, emotional intelligence classes where they teach you to communicate with people. Right? Like, but in this case, you know about finance. Like, what is your take on education in finance?
So this goes back to two things. So back in the day, the major donor to education was the Rockefeller Foundation. Rockefeller was quoted saying, "I want a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers or doers." Right? Because again, if everybody's smart enough, well, then the world's going to operate. People are going to be entrepreneurs. There's got to be somebody who...
The social media effect. They're going to do their own thing. They're going to...
Exactly, right? So Rockefeller was quoted, again, and that's who was the predominant funding of the education curriculum. Same thing with pharmaceuticals. Rockefeller found they were big on the pharmaceutical companies. They told schools, university, the doctors that if you don't move away from plant-based medicine, we're not going to give you funding. The only funding we're going to give you is for pharmaceuticals, right? Because you can make more money off pharmaceuticals.
Of course.
No cure, right? Why cure something if you could just sell a pill? No pill has ever cured anybody. You ever see people get off medication?
Rarely.
Right? It's like you're pretty much on medication forever rather than getting to the root cause, which is why we have the problems we have nowadays with diet and all the things, that just... Again, nowadays the pharmaceutical companies own the food companies. So how crazy is it that all these bad food distributors, that sell us the chips, the Takis, and all that same company that's harming us physically is also the same companies that own the pharmaceutical companies to give us the medications for diabetes and hypertension.
From all the shit we get from the shit
So
they
they're
feed us.
selling us the food that's making us unhealthy, but they're also selling us the pill to regulate, So that's in there as well. So as far as education, it's like there's no means for it. But that's why if you want to pay for it, that's why private school, well, if you make enough money, send your kid to private school and the private school will teach them that. But again, somebody's got to be the workers. Somebody's got to be the owner of the business. So it doesn't really, that's why we don't have it in school, right? I think now as, again, with social media and as people get more knowledgeable because we have the internet. We don't have to look up an encyclopedia. Everything's at our fingertips.
Oh, shit, now we have ChatGPT too.
Yeah,
now you don't even gotta Google shit and do your own little research. Now ChatGPT just fucking gives it all to
it
you.
does everything. So now it's like, do you even really need to know? But obviously it's just like a smartphone. The smartphone's only as smart as you are.
Yeah, of course.
Right? If you don't know how to use your smart, so if you don't know how to use the AI, it's only as smart as you can be. Because there's people that are very elementary with it and very, very knowledgeable on how to use the AI, and they do way better things that you can't even think of. You're like, oh, I could do the same thing. I still don't have the knowledge. But I mean, that's a big reason. Going
Has
back to
AI
education.
changed your industry? Right now that you mentioned AI, being in the financial industry, has AI changed your industry in any way, shape, or form? And if it has, which ways?
Not that I'm seeing. It's helped. It's helped us. It's helped as an advisor. Again, ChatGPT help me come with the market. Help me come up with a marketing plan to do X, Y, Z. I have a client experiencing this, that, and this. What would be the best way to move forward given these parameters? Keep in mind this X, Y, and Z is a primary focus, and whatever is a secondary focus. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that gives me ideas. Okay, on top of what I already know. I have a client giving me pushback. How can I overcome this objection? And they give me a bunch of different ways. So it makes
these are ways you use it, is what you're saying.
Ways to make you better as the agent. I don't know if individuals are using it, but they should, because again, you have the knowledge. So again, I would say don't take my word for it, but I would also say take my word for it.
Got it.
Because my word is my bond, right? Word is bond. Wu-Tang. Because when somebody says I have to do my own research, I welcome you doing your own research, but I also promise you that I've done enough research for the both of us and long enough that what I tell you is legit. But I do welcome you to do your research. But also to not get, that can get you lost in the sauce, so to speak. You get lost in the weeds. Because again, you don't know what you're looking for. So let's just say, Joe, you're like, well, actually, it would work. You're like, hey, I want to start an IRA. What's the best way to start an IRA?
Yeah.
You could learn, but it would tell you, okay, open up a Fidelity account. Anybody can open up a Fidelity account. Anybody can open up a TD Ameritrade account. Put your information, first name, last name, social security number, boom, you're good to go. Now it says, what type of account do you want to open? Do you want to open up a brokerage account? Do you want to open up an IRA, a Roth IRA, SEP IRA? What type of account? Well, you have to know what type of the accounts do. And then it's like, okay, great. Now the money's in there. Transfer the money from your bank into the trading software, the trading platform. There's a Vanguard fund. There's an S&P fund. Which fund for you? There's individual stocks, NVIDIA, Tesla, Amazon, CRISPR. Which one? So again, there's going to be knowledge. And unless you have the time and the interest of doing it, you're not going to know. It's kind of like cooking. Some people, cooking's really easy. You just follow a recipe. But some people don't like to cook. Mm-hmm. They don't like to cook, right? It's like, but it's pretty easy. If you could read, you could make an amazing meal. All you got to do is cut the onions, cut the garlic, put a teaspoon of olive oil, saute it, put the meat in, 10 minutes. Pretty self-explanatory, but some people won't do it because it's not in them. Mm-hmm. So although you could open up your accounts and do it might not just be in you.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to, outsource it. But anybody can do it. I mean, and that information, it's helpful, but it's only as helpful as you want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I'm getting from what you're saying too is, and I've been hearing this a lot lately, is like hire somebody to help you.
Yeah.
Right? Like hire, like we can't be good at everything, and so whatever, like just realize whatever you're not good at, and then just get somebody to coach you. You know, that whole consulting thing that you were saying a little while ago. Like, I mean, right now I think this is going to be episode 21 or 22, right? But I definitely feel like at least once I get maybe to like 50 episodes, 60 episodes, I'm kind of excited to see where that goes. One, to see like where like a sponsorship thing goes for the podcast, just to at least pay, to get it edited, right? Like to get the post-production, the intros and all that, which shout out to Jolene, my daughter, she does all that stuff for me, right? But I pay her to do it, right? Like I hired her to do it. So hopefully I can, by episode 50, get some way for like the podcast itself, whether through sponsorships or whatever, to kind of sustain itself, right? But I'm also excited for the part that you said right now.
Shout out to like, 399 Pizza Company. They're on you, right?
Yeah. Angel. Shout out Angel. Let's go. Yeah,
man.
shout out to Angel.
I'm just saying, buddy, really good pizza at 399 Pizza Company. There you go.
Right? Looking for a sponsor?
You're looking for a sponsor, man. Great pizza.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like I definitely, this is always going to be practice, right? It's just like a doctor, right? Like you never get it all. Like it's always a practice, right? Like, so even once I'm in episode fucking whatever, 100, 200, like I feel like I'm still always going to see it as practice, because every episode, like I really do learn something from it, right? But fortunately now, like past the 20s, right? I'm already learning different things. Now I'm starting to think, especially after the last guest I had, now I'm starting to think like, okay, it's definitely possible to supplement this somehow, right? Like through sponsorships, so that I don't have to be paying for it out of pocket, right? And then also like what you just said right now, the experience of it, right? By episode 50, episode 60, I feel like the knowledge I'm going to have as far as to how to create a studio, the sound panels, the this, the that, it's definitely, I think, something that could be part of the consulting region.
Especially locally, right? Even if you do it locally, and whether you have a big following or you don't have a big following, I mean, again, I'm a local guy, right? I'm a Covina guy. You're right here in San Dimas. Angel's right there in Glendora, right? Jorge Marquez, past mayor of Covina. He lives in Pomona now. But again, you start promoting the businesses, and everybody's got a story too, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey,
Hell yeah.
especially small business. Hey, how'd you start? The business next door. I don't know what the business next door is, but hey, how'd you start? And once it gets traction and momentum, it just becomes a community podcast where like that's where you're kind of seeking. Hey, man, people in the community are gonna watch me first before anybody outside the community, right? People, and so again, like, well, at least it makes the community thrive because
Absolutely.
399 or whatever, people are gonna start gravitating to the people that you have on in the community, and that's what's good. And that's why community pages are so good, right? A lot of Facebook has like a Covina buzz, whatever. It's like, okay, well, this is just a page where see what businesses are doing, see the story. Everybody loves a good story, right?
Yeah.
Everybody loves a good story, and we're all looking for connection. I only want to do business with people where I know the connection, right? Like there's a connect. I know Angel, so I want to support Angel, right? It's good. He's a young guy. So that's what I want to go to. Same thing with you, right? You cut my hair today. Thank you. I mean, you're not my go-to barber all the time, but yeah, it's like I'm not going to go to a stranger. I only want to do business with people that I know or somebody else knows.
Yeah, absolutely.
First right of refusal is always going to go to somebody that I know or somebody that, and I hate when people do business with something like, you went to that guy and you don't even know him. What? You don't even know him, right? And that's why I think having a good sense of community is really important when you're in business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've been wanting to start for a while, right? I was about to say the name of the page that I want to start, but I gotta make the page first, right?
Yeah.
But it's been like 3 years, man, that I've been wanting to do a lot more like a small business promotional content, right? Like not promotional, right? But just like go to small business and just like feature them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and there's a lot of pages like that I follow, and I love those pages. Right, like I think there's one like OC Feed. There's one like something in Riverside. Right, like there's these different pages that I like going to that they mainly do restaurants or like they'll just visit small business and they'll do like little features. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I did a little experiment back in 2023 in the summer where I did it for 30 days, and it was an awesome experience. I just haven't gone back to it. But definitely like that, what you're saying as far as building a sense of community, getting in touch with your community. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while that I think within the next couple months or so, I'm going to start like a page where I can just feature small businesses. Because, I think for any small business owner, especially, being part of the community is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
I'm going to say this. You're going to laugh at me. One of my favorite shows recently is Little House on the Prairie.
Huh.
Have you ever seen Little House on the Prairie?
I have not.
Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
So Little House on the Prairie, I used to watch when I was a kid. My grandma used to watch us, and she used to always have it in the background. Now, I never knew what was going on in the show. I just knew Little House on the Prairie would come on, and I'd be doing whatever. I never paid attention to the episodes. Recently, I was on like Prime, and it came up, and I was feeling nostalgic, missing my grandma maybe, and I was like, I used to watch it when I was a kid. And so I put on episode 1, and I started watching multiple episodes. But this is gonna to offshoot the conversation. There's a big, and the entire show is based on family and community. But what really got me to watch more episodes of the show was the first episode. The first episode, and it resonated with me, especially as a man. And you'll get this too. And I welcome you to watch the show. Just the first episode. It's long. It's an hour and a half. But the basis of the show is this dad. He has a family. He's got a wife and 3 daughters. They live in Minnesota. There's no opportunities of work in Minnesota. But the dad knows if he travels, there's more opportunities. So they pack the wagon. They sell everything they own. They pack the wagon, take the dog, tells the girls, say goodbye. We're on to new land, new opportunity. They go to Kansas. And there's some mishaps along the way, right? They almost lose the wagon. They're in a river, right? Again, traveling back, this is in the 1800s. Traveling's not easy in the 1800s. You're on a horse and carriage. You're not in an SUV with TVs. So they're traveling. Then they finally get to the prairie, right? A nice area. And the dad tells the mom, we're 50 miles away from the next town. And she's like, oh, yay, it's been a while since I've been in town. He's like, we're not going there. And he feels like she's a little disappointed. And he's like, let me show you something. And he shows them this land. And he says, right here, this is where we're going to build a house. So they start building the house. Just the dad, his wife, and 3 girls. So the dad starts building the house, and the wife has to help him. Again, the wife's not much help. She's help. She's actually good help. But again, she's not a man. And so there's a part where, she collapses because she can't do the work. The dad says, you know what, I'm sorry. I should have never brought you out here. This is no work for a woman. And when he says this, you feel as a man, he says it with a disappointment in himself. I should have never brought you out here. This is no work for a woman. But the good woman, his wife is, she says, I wouldn't be out here if I didn't want to be. I love you, and I will go wherever you go. Makes them feel good, which goes back on being a man and the importance of having a strong, motivating woman that will be there for you when times get rough, when you're feeling down on yourself and you don't feel like you're enough. Because at that moment, he didn't feel like he was enough. Finally, they get the house built.
Why do you say that? And I'm really curious because in communication, I think that's awesome for people to be able to read between the lines, right? Based off of what he said to her, right? Which sounded offensive, right? Which most people would have taken like, well, fuck you then, right? How did you get from that it was a reaction, it was an expression of him not feeling worthy?
Just the tonality in which he said it. And he didn't say it like this is no work. He said it like, I feel like I'm failing. And maybe I'm internalizing it more.
Okay, so he wasn't upset.
He wasn't upset.
Okay.
He's building the house, she collapses, and he just felt bad, like
okay, got it.
Apologetic. I'm sorry. I should have never brought you out here. This is no work for a woman.
Yeah. Now I get it.
I shouldn't, right? Like, yeah. And she's saying, no, like, I wouldn't have came out here if I didn't love you. You're home is where the heart is. I'm with you and I got you.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you do whatever I can. But he's just looking at it like,
yeah, no, I get it now.
She shouldn't have to do this.
Fuck, man.
You
that
shouldn't
sucks
have
that
to,
I had to put her through this.
My wife shouldn't have to get her hands dirty.
That really sucks I had to put her through this.
I get my hands dirty. You don't get your hands dirty. I get my hands dirty. You don't. So, anyways, they get the house built. And now the dad's got to figure out, okay, where's he going to get work? What's he going to do with the land? And so they don't have much, but they had like some cattle or whatever. So the dad finds somebody and he trades one cattle for a plow so he could plow the field. So now the dad's happy. The little girls, my dad was so happy. He got this nice little plow. Now he can plow the land. But now they're in Indian country, and now some Indians show up, and they're like, oh wow, like what are the they're on point. Are they friendly? What do they want to do with us? So they're worried about the Indians. So they have to deal about this situation. Are the Indians going to attack us? Are they going to kill us? Are they friendly or are they not friendly? Fortunately, it ends that they end up being friendly. Originally, they were trying to figure out how they felt about the family. But then another part was, out of nowhere, there's a fire. And the house almost burned. So now there's almost a fire. There's a little creek. And again, the mom and dad are trying to put out this fire with little buckets of water. Again, the only thing they have, they sold all their house, all their belongings in Minnesota. The only thing they have is this little house. And they're doing their hardest to save it from a fire. They get it saved. So now they built the house, went through that trouble. Dad has a plow. He's plowing the fields, plant seeds. He's building something. He's feeling good. They saved the house from the fire. That was crazy. The Indians come, and finally the Indians walk away. No, we're cool. At the very end of the episode, you know what happens? The government comes in and tells the dad, you can no longer be here. We drew new lines, and this land is no longer land for you. The dad sold everything he had. He made his wife build his house, and now he's got to leave. And so, again, why it makes me feel so good, why I guess I got attached is because I understand, again, being an entrepreneur and being a man, the weight that is on our shoulders to support ourselves and our family, only to get one step forward and to be knocked three steps back. But at the end of it was okay because he had his wife, and his wife was just such a solid. So again, just when again, for me as a man and working my way to be the best provider I can possibly be, of knowing that life's going to give you blows. Have a good support system behind you, whether it's a wife, friends, family, and be resilient. Because the next thing so then they're leaving, they're packing up their stuff. The wife says, what about the plow? You traded the plow. Dad said, I can't take it. It doesn't fit on the wagon.
Yeah.
Also, there was another side gig that the dad had did prior, and he ended up coming up on a cow and a calf. So they get milk and beef, but they can't take the cow and the calf now. So the dad's got to give up a cow, the calf, a cabin, and the plow that he traded something else for to go to somewhere else and to start anew again. And then the second episode starts, he's got again. But just the beauty in life. That's life. You know, one step forward, three steps behind. But at the end of the day, friends and family will get you through it. And the lack of and having hustle, because when they get to the next town, what's the dad do? He finds a job, he hustles, whatever I could do. Hey, I'll get a job at a wood mill, and I'll work for wood, because then I'll build my house. And then once I have the house, I'll figure out if I can get some side work doing this. And that's the basis of the early episodes of the show, is how the dad starts from nothing and builds the setbacks, the family environment, and all these other little things. It's just a beautiful show, man.
It's a good show. It seems like a good show.
It caught me. I'm like, you know, because
like persevering through the struggles is really what I hear.
Through the struggles, dude. And
what it takes to have good people in your environment.
But just the importance. And at the end of the day, you're always gonna have work too, because on the second, the dad's overworking himself because he's trying to do it all. He's working all day because he's got to support his family. You got, you know, it's you know. It's anybody. It's, you know, immigration's a big topic. It's coming somewhere and hustling, trying to make it. And that's what it is. It's a dad just working 12, 18 hours a day because he's got 4 mouths to feed, a wife and 3 little girls. He's going to go out there and do whatever he's got to do it. And he's doing it. But then the wife brings him back to reality too. Hey, mind you got 3 little girls. You got to spend time with them. Life, you're always going to be busy. There's always going to be something.
Absolutely.
And then, so the dad realizes that, and then he takes him on a picnic. Right? He's all, you know what? I've been working. I've been a little bit grumpy. I'm going to take you guys on a picnic. Girls get really excited. They haven't seen their dad. And then what happens on the picnic? The dad climbs a tree and breaks his back.
Oh.
So then he's back again, right? So
another challenge to persevere through.
Another challenge to persevere through. But again, it's just me looking at it through the lenses I have now as an adult man. It's just like, man, but it shows me what I want. It's such a beautiful, wholesome show. It just shows me what I want. A woman like that, daughters like that, or family friends like that. When you're struggling, because, you know, the dad broke his back, he couldn't finish the work, and the neighbors came to help him.
Wow.
Whatever, right? And when I look at the person I want to be, this little wholesome show highlights all these things. If I could be anybody, I'd be this dad, and I only hope to have a beautiful family and friends like this show has. Obviously, it's TV, so it's, you know, well, that's made up. It's TV, but it's nice to strive for something.
Yeah.
And again, that was a tangent, but that was a little side thing. But again,
from that tangent, real quick though. Speaking of kids, speaking of mouths to feed, I do want to. This is one question I really did want to get curious with you about, right? Because I'm a parent, right? So for me personally, and then of course for any parent that might be listening, knowing that there is no education for our kids in public school, right? Like in grade school, first through, you know, senior, that they're not really going to get financial education, right? Like, obviously, other than hiring other than going to somebody like you and taking their kid to someone like you, how can parents start to educate their kids from a young age? At what age should they really start educating them, and how should they educate them along the process on financial literacy?
Well, I would say it could be easier for some than others. Because I would say easier for some, let's say you got it like that, in the sense of you're able to offer your daughter an allowance for chores.
Okay.
Some people may not be able to offer their kids an allowance for the chores. Hey, listen, the lights are on. You have a bed. You have clothes. That's your allowance, right? You're gonna. Right?
Yeah.
Again, so it's different for all, right?
Yeah.
You know, but again, all kids' education starts from their parents. And it should be the parents. That's why, you know, if you could swing it, I'm a big fan of, you know, like homeschooling or some type of privatized education, because you know, public school is not going to be it. But if you're adamant, you will do what's important to you. If that's important to you, and you know nothing, let's just say you know nothing, but that's important. I know nothing, and I don't want my kid to not know the things that I don't know. We're in a beautiful age of technology. A homeless person has a smartphone. A homeless guy right now is watching Netflix for free on his Obama phone. So if you want it bad enough, the education is there, right? Like there's the internet, right? Like Google is very, AI is existing now, like you mentioned before. So again, just maybe teaching yourself, if they have an hour a day and they want to learn themselves, and start, hey, how do I be financially free? How do I come up with a financial plan? Right? Whatever it is that they're yearning for, they'll find it and then show it to their kids. And then tell their kids, hey, watch this. Then come back and tell me what you learned. Right? In my family's house, this is my dad's house, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur and all my family and my siblings have been entrepreneurs in some way, shape, or form. My dad owns a business, and because my dad owns a business, he's always shown his kids the value of making money and, you know, being able to do what you want with your own money, right? So what my 17-year-old brother, his first business, which is now my 10-year-old brother's business, collecting cans, right? And it was just, not only do they get paid for chores, and they're on payroll for the business, which is a different thing, but hey, you're going to go around to all the neighbors, and you're going to say, hey, hi, my name is Michael. I'm 6 years old, 7 years old, however he was at the time. Do you mind if I place this bin on your doorstep? All you have to do, if you don't recycle already, just put your cans and bottles in here, and I'm going to come by every Thursday, and I'm going to pick up, and I'm going to give you a clean one. That's you know, and I'm a little boy. Who's gonna tell a little boy or a little girl no, right? Especially if you don't recycle. Like, sorry, I recycle myself. Or, you know what, I do recycle, but you'll save me a trip. Here, you can have my recyclables. And maybe it's to come up, maybe, you know, here's a big old bag. But, so then my brother did it around the block. And then on the next block. And he had like this little route where my dad would come and say, hey man, today's the day to do your route. You're gonna go, you're gonna take bins. And then my brother's first hustle
was collecting cans.
Yeah. Going to the place, you know, on Sunflower and Arrow Highway, and getting whatever little money. Okay, what are you gonna do with your money? What are you gonna do with it? You could do this with it, or you could do that with it, right? What do you want to do? Hey, I want ice cream. Okay, great. What do you want to do with your money? And when you start telling a kid what do you want to do with your money, then
it does something for them.
They start realizing, no, I'd rather have it than I'd rather not. Do you really want it? It's gonna cost you this. I'm not using my money. Use your money. Oh, it's okay with my money to do it, but it's not okay with your money to do with it? Why would I want to do it if you don't want to do it? Because you want to hang on to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? So just those little things, right? Well, you know, so so that was my 17-year-old. I have a 10-year-old brother now. He's horrible, dude. This dude is real cool because he's more like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's so cool. Like, you want to use your money? Yeah. Here, take it. He's so he's just like whatever, but probably better for him because he'll probably have the most money out of anybody.
Yeah,
because
he's not attached to it.
Because he's not attached to it. Yeah, he doesn't have a scarcity mindset, which is the best thing you could ever have. The worst thing you could have is a scarcity mindset. And this kid does not have it. He's just like
it's abundant.
It's abundant.
He's got an abundant mindset. Whatever.
So he'll probably have the most of it because he doesn't think that way.
Yeah,
he's always been like. One time I was at the ice cream man. I didn't have any cash on me. And my older brother, the 17-year-old, I was like, hey man, can you buy me an ice cream? I was like, it's $2, whatever. He's like, yeah, sure, but you owe me $2.75.
Yeah, interest.
Yeah, because he knows, like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna add some points. Yeah. Hey, bro, I'm gonna have to give you a couple points on this.
Yep.
It's like, dude, the younger brother, he's.
Hey, but you needed it.
The other brother, he'd be like, yeah, no, whatever.
Yeah, here you go, $2 here. Take it.
Here you go, I got you, bro.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
Like, so but again, doing that, and then again, just there's a lot of little games you could play. Put your money here, it makes this safe, and you want, and just teach them stuff, making it fun, right? It doesn't have to be, but it's different for everybody. But I'll tailor it to the people that are at least in my community. Mm-hmm. My community are more middle class, right? So I would assume most of them could pay their kids chores or do so. So I say, start doing chores. Make them watch a video before they watch a YouTube video on nonsense, and write you what they learned. And make it say, hey, I need help with something. What do you need help with, Dad? I don't know what to do with my money. Can you help me figure it out? And then can you help me? And then give them like a job. Young kids like to do a job. And okay, that's what you learned, but what about this? And let them solve the problem. Give them problems. Just give them problems. Tell them you need help. Give them a problem. Give them something to do. And then let them come back and solve the problem that you had and learn from it. Right? It's not a real problem you had. It's just...
Yeah, but they can definitely get a lesson from it.
Yeah, exactly.
They get a lesson for it, and maybe you pay them for it.
Yeah, whatever.
Here's $5.
Yeah, hey,
thank you
listen,
for your services.
Hey, yeah,
thank you for your consulting services.
Exactly. It's exactly. It's like you could do this with your money, or you could do that with your money. What makes the most sense? You could save it for your new, my brother wants to build a nice gaming computer. All right, how much is that going to cost? So it's going to cost you X amount for that. Okay, cool. So do you want to spend money on this or you want to spend money on that? All right, cool, save. That's your thing. Maybe I'll help you with it. All right, cool, man. If you could get to 300, I'll match you. You know, those are a lot of things. You know, fortunately, my dad's really, you know, he's been in business for a while, and he's fortunate enough to have things a certain way for his household that rubs off on his kids. But he also just doesn't give it without some type of like, no, if you could get there, I'll get there. You know, even when as soon as I turned 18, he started charging me rent. Day after I turned 18, I was still, no, I think I just graduated, but he started charging me rent. He didn't tell me he was going to give it back. My dad charged me rent. And he's like, you got to pay rent now. Like, you're going to pay rent no matter what. Like,
The moment you turn what?
yeah, the moment I turned 18
got it.
is when I started paying rent. But then my dad also gave me, I tell the story all the time. It's one of my great stories. It's like, I just turned 18. I was trying to come home whenever I wanted to come home. I'm a man.
I'm an adult.
I can do what I can do. My dad, checked me one day. He said, listen, you think you're a man? I'm like, yeah, I'm 18. He says, listen, in this house, there's only one man in the house. And that's me. I say when the front door opens, I say when the front door closes. I say when the refrigerator opens, when the refrigerator closes. I say when the lights turn on, turn off. I say when you run the water. If you want to be a man, and you want to be your own man, and get as many tattoos as you want, because I was getting tattoos, he didn't like that. You go out on the road, you pay your own way, and now you can call yourself a man, you can do whatever you want. But in this house,
There's only one.
there's only one, that's me, and I say how it operates. I moved out a few months after that. But once I moved out, my dad gave me all the money he had already started charging me in rent. He charged me $500. I was paying $500. So then not only was I not expecting that money, he gave it back to me, and that was a nice little help as well. But it was just showing at an early age, hey, you're 18. But also to check me and know that, nah, bro, like, you want to be a man, be a man. But you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet to do it. If not, you're going to answer to somebody, and that somebody's me. Right?
Wow, that was such a great way to put it. I mean, some people might be like, "That's super fucking toxic, Max." But for that, right? Like for like how you said, like how you transition from a boy to a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. I was 18 once, right? Like we all get to an age where we think like, no, now I know it all. I'm old enough. Why the fuck can't I make my own decisions, right? But like the whole man of the house thing that we've created, like as humanity, right? Like I think that does play a role, right? Like no, in here there's only one man. Until there's one out there and one in here.
Yeah.
Right? But as long as there's any men here, there's only one man.
It's lions,
That's
bro.
it.
It's lions. As soon as the cub gets a certain age, they're gonna fight with the king, bro.
Yeah, let me lift this for you real quick because it seems to be going down and down and down.
Yeah, as soon as a cub, you gotta kick that cub out, and otherwise there's gonna be controversy. And to alleviate that controversy, that's what my dad told me. But because my dad and I are so similar, there was no way I was gonna take that. Nah, bro, I don't like this. Okay, so let me figure it out. And then fortunately I moved out at 18. I never went back. Never had to go back. I was able to stand on my own. Now again, probably a little bit easier said than it is now.
Of course.
However, I graduated in 2007. So I moved out in 2007, 2008-ish. And that was the heart of the financial crisis, right? So I didn't move out the best. So maybe they're around the same. The economy is around the same as it is now. Maybe not. I don't know. But it would be hard, And also, I think it's different because I have siblings now that I can't imagine them moving out at 18. Like I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Right now, moving out is. I mean, rents are through.
But
the
just
roof.
mentally too. But just maturity wise.
But because you have hindsight now, right? You have hindsight now, right? I feel like I'm pretty sure all of the 30-something-year-olds that seen you when you were 18, 19 would say the same thing about you.
Maybe
I don't know if he's ready.
No, yes and no. I will say when I grew up a lot differently than my siblings, just because I'm a latchkey kid, like a lot of us 90s babies were, like super latchkey. My parents split up. My mom went out of the house, didn't really see her. So my dad raised us. But my dad was always working. So my sister and I were able to get into a lot of mischief. Right? So again, 12 years old, experiencing things that a 12-year-old shouldn't, even at high school. When I look at my brothers and sisters, the furthest from where I was of life experiences, for better or worse, at that age. At that age, I was doing this. They wouldn't even do that at the age that they are now. It'd be so far away. So
Life was different.
Life was different, right?
Life was different.
You know, but it's no different than somebody who grew up in like the 1800s. An 18-year-old from the 1800s, that dude was a grandpa.
Yeah, that dude was a grandpa.
That
yeah.
dude was a grandpa, dude. Like, you know, he was a grandpa, bro.
Yeah, life was just different.
Life was just different, right? So that happens as the world changes. And, you know, so maybe like the new age should be 21, right? As an 18-year-old.
I think so.
An 18-year-old.
They've been talking about that, right? Like they've actually been like, I know that cigarettes obviously went from 18 to 21.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know if anybody would ever change that. I'm pretty sure they'll. I don't think so because again, military would lose out if you can decide the military.
I guess you're right. You're
that
right.
That wouldn't work. And 18 is a solid enough number. It's just times have changed as far as maturity, right? Like
parenting, eighth place trophies.
Yeah, but then that's the millennials' faults too. Again, everybody talk trash on the millennials, but the millennials are the ones raising the Gen Beta right now, right? That's the new generation, Gen Beta.
Gen Beta.
If you're born right now, you're Gen Beta.
So if you're born what, 2025?
If you're born this year, I think it's your Gen Beta.
And 2024 is still what, Gen Z?
No, it might be Beta still.
Okay.
But so it's millennial. I think there's the Gen Zers, Alpha of Us, and there's one before the one now.
Huh. Yeah.
So like,
if you're following the generation,
if you're in your 20s, you're probably a Gen Zer. If you're in your like
30s,
if you're
a millennial.
Well, if you're your 30s, you're a millennial. If you're in your like your 20s, you're like a Gen Zer. And if you're in your like, let's say maybe like 5 to 12,
Gen Beta.
No, you're Gen something else.
Okay.
And then, but if you're born now, it's like I think generations change every like 10, 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to find that out. When how often generations change? How many is? It's got to be. There's got to be a.
I think it's
year.
about 15.
It's got to be a set
I
year.
think.
I'm gonna look that shit up.
Yeah, because I think to be a millennial, Jamie, look that up.
Jamie, look that
Jamie,
up.
look that up. Yeah, I think to be a millennial, you're born 82 to probably 94. So that's 12 years.
Generations change.
No, most of our parents are Gen Zers.
Let me see. How many years do generations change? Every 20 to 30. So like baby boomers, 1946 from 19 to 1964, which was 18 years. Gen X, 65 to 80, which was 15 years.
Okay.
Millennials, which is Gen Y. Millennials are
Gen Y. Okay.
Yeah, it says right here, millennials, parentheses, Gen Y.
Makes sense. Y2K.
Born 81 through 96. Gen Z was born 97 through 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And then Generation Alpha is 2013 to 225. So no. So
now it's Beta. Beta Alpha.
So
Alpha.
it looks like it seems to be. So the baby boomers was a total of 18 years, but then everything after that was 15 years, 15 years, 15 years. Right now, the Generation Alpha it just says 12 years plus. So I'm guessing it's going to be another 15 years. So right now it's still Generation Alpha.
Yeah.
From 2013 to now is Generation Alpha.
Yeah. And then the new one's going to be Beta. So that could be this year, maybe a couple more years.
3 years. Okay, cool. Got it. So the next one's going to be Beta.
But you're cooked if you're like, what are you? Beta?
Beta.
Right? Like, Generation Beta. Yeah, you guys are, man. Yeah, you're super,
Yeah, well, shit, it makes sense. Generation Beta. Beta is always the test. The test part of everything, right? So
that. But it's just it's just comical, right? It's anecdotal.
Yeah.
As far as how that works. But yeah, back to the whole teaching financial literacy. It starts in the house, bro. If you want it,
cool.
If it's important, you'll do it, right?
Yeah, and just like I like what you said, like savings and having them see like right now we're doing this thing. We're gonna go to Europe in October, right? So our kids are saving up money, and anytime they want something
in Europe,
right? We say like, all right, I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it.
But like you can, right? But it's gonna come out of your savings. Like it's definitely made a little bit of a difference. But definitely having this conversation with you had me think of other things that we can do. Because like one thing that came up for me right now is that there really is no like clear structure as to like, okay, what do we pay for as your parents? What do we agree that like we'll provide for you, right? And what's not part of that agreement, right? And having that be clear.
That's really good. That's
like having it be,
that's refreshing. I didn't think about
but like having it be super clear.
I will make sure you have clothes. I will make sure you have a notebook. If there's a nicer notebook that you want, maybe you get it. Because I'm gonna give you the necessities. But this is
But having it be clear, like in writing, where like the kid knows, like this is what it is. Like, look, if we go out to restaurants, right? I provide a 15 right? Like I
That's
provide
crazy.
a $15, but like, but
I see that. That's
but I
crazy.
really do believe like to
don't
really,
be ordering the lobster.
but like to really like teach them like
Yeah.
financial, right? I think that's awesome, right? Every now and then I think it's good. Like I'll treat them,
Yeah.
like, hey, just a heads up, whatever you want to order, I got you. But see, now I feel like now
I want you to think it's your wallet first.
but not only that, but and this just came up for me as I was speaking
Mm-hmm.
right now, right? Like we talk a lot nowadays about entitlement,
Mm.
right? And like you said, I love what you said because I've heard it before, right? And I agree with it, which is like, why are we talking shit about this younger generation when we're the ones raising them,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I do see a lot of conversation amongst people about that the newer generations are entitled, right? I feel like having some structure like that can keep them from being entitled. What I mean by that is, let's just say, man, like you're not doing it because you're trying to be cheap, right? You're doing it because you want to teach your kids, you want to guide them for their future as a parent, right? So it's like if you say, okay, look, when we go to restaurants, all of your limit is $15, right? Even if 4 or 9 out of 10 times you go to restaurants, you end up saying, hey, mijo, just a heads up, I got you on this one. But every single time you're letting them know, hey, look, this is not like a given, right? You can't just come in here and order whatever you want all the time and expect to get it, right? Like
You're not. I mean, it's a whole. I could teach you how to fish, or I could give you a fish, right? And it sucks when you're comfortable. So when kids grow up comfortable, that's the easy street, and that's where the entitlement comes. And that's why a kid who is comfortable is not as resourceful than a kid who comes from nothing. Because a kid who comes from nothing and comes from struggle, he becomes super resourceful. So if you want it, although it's not because you're being broke, it's because I'm trying to teach you how to be resourceful. Because you cannot depend on dad's wallet. My wallet is not your wallet. You know, who says it? I think Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan says, I'm not giving my kids anything. My kids will not get any wealth. And that's a different way to think about it. Again, I don't know if I feel the same sentiment, but he says, that's my money is my money. It is not your money, right? I don't really agree with that, but I can understand it and I operate that. But again, I just want you to be resourceful. I don't want you to depend on this because if you depend on mine, you will never make it on your own. So I need you to learn how to, and so I need to be able to pull it. I need to be able to pull back the reins so that way you take charge and you make your own way. Because I'm not always going to be here. Because what if I do pass away, right? What if I do a lot of things? I won't be here to back you up forever. So I got to teach you as much as possible to be as resilient and be able to pivot because life's going to throw blows. And then to be able to have, will you even be able to, are you going to be so entitled where you won't do something because you think it's lesser? Like, just because again, my dad does okay. But do my brothers, are they above collecting cans?
no.
No, but the only reason was there was a time where when my dad was a young dad and he had to recycle boxes to help get my sister diapers because he didn't have it. So he had to recycle boxes. The kids don't have to, but again, I need to show you, I need to teach you ways to get through struggle because life is not easy and you can't. I hope you never get there, but again, I give them a little bit of push to get them to the other side. So you're not wrong for that. And it's a good idea to say what you're responsible and what you're not responsible.
Yeah, like this is what we'll cover for you as parents, right? Like as parents, this is what we cover for you. Anything outside of this comes from, right? Like, and that, again, like being resourceful, right? Like showing them like what can they do? What can they do around the house? What can they do to earn money, right? Because when they go to a restaurant, right, that 1 out of 10 times, right, that dad doesn't say, hey, I got you on this one. And you see the lobster that's $30, but your thing is only 15. There's an agreement. There's a clear agreement that your dad said that, or your parents said that anything above 15 is covered by you. Yeah. Right. And that day you go like, fuck it, I want to order the lobster today, and I don't want my dad to tell me no.
Or pages, or even pages. Hey, anything on this page? I got you.
Yep.
Right. There's a kid page, but if you want to order the adult page, you want to order this.
But I think it would be dope to have it clear though, like a clear,
and then sign it, and then teach, and teach them the power of words. You sign that, and that's like signing any contract. Like, hey, you promise to get anything above a C, or you can't wrestle.
Yeah,
sign it.
Sign agreement.
Right. You don't be mad at me. You sign that agreement. Don't be mad at me. I didn't fall short. You fell short, and then you teach them what? Accountability.
Yeah.
because those are things that you have to teach your kids: resilience, accountability, independent thinking, right? That's what we want to teach our kids. Another thing, you could, as far as a parent, I think you should get your kid life insurance because who's healthier than a kid? When you talk about keeping things like low and like if you can swing it, right? I always say get life insurance on your kids because who's healthier than a kid? And you lock it in, you lock a price in for their entire life that they will always have.
Oh, you mean like a whole life?
You get them like a whole life, yeah. Okay. If you can swing it, right? Some people can't. Again, that's a whole different topic. Yeah. But if you can, because let's say my younger brother, so my brother who's 17 is a type 1 diabetic. So very hard to get a type 1 diabetic, kid or not, life insurance. Now it's like, well, why does a 17-year-old kid need life? He doesn't. But one day he will be a dad. One day he will be a provider. He's going to need it sooner or later, and it's only going to get worse off if not at all. So if you get something for your kid, because again, kids get sick too. Mm-hmm. Clearly, my brother had type 1 diabetes. Clearly, things happen in kids. So if you could get some type of permanent policy and you could afford it, you lock in their age of health, they're always going to have it. Now, again, they're going to get one themselves when they're older or whatever. But at least
they can continue that one once they're old enough.
They can continue that. Well, they're going to continue that one. You should make it matter because, again, there's no point not to, right? It's so inexpensive because you got it from young. Continue it, and then you're going to need more. But, again, at least you have this. And then there's cash value components, whatever, savings components, whatever. But, again, if you could do it, then as far as like, and that's like a family decision too. Again, different strokes for different folks. If you're the person who wants to build like generational wealth and set your kids up, well then you do it. But that's if you think about it. Again, some people, whatever, I don't care. It's just it could be a strategy as far as if you're really trying to. There's a book out there called like What Would the Rockefellers Do, and all they do is the book is just all about getting a bunch of life insurance.
Yeah, a bunch of life insurances. Okay.
Yeah, because the waterfall method of Rockefeller was, let's just say you get a family trust, right? Family trust. So one person has to die first. So let's just say you start a family trust and you get $5 million worth of life insurance. You're guaranteed to pass away, right? So 40 years from now, you pass away, there's $5 million of life insurance in there, right? Well, now the trust also, every time you had kids or whatever, the trust always paid for life insurance for the kids or whatever. Anyways, you die. The trust gets $5 million. Now all the family has access to the family trust. They can only have access to that $5 million for a house, an investment, for school, whatever you say they can have access to, right? Now, one of two things can happen. Either they can make money with that money or they can lose money with that money. Hopefully they make more money with that money and then they put the money back in, right? But if they lose it, it's okay because one day they'll die. And then the family trust.
It with their, yep.
So it's a waterfall, Rockefeller method. Oh, yeah. So it's not as hard to swing,
but you got to think really far ahead.
It's for a certain type of person. Yeah. It's like people will say, "Hey, this is what the wealthy people do." Yeah, it's true, but it's like that's like a sales thing. Like it's like somebody trying to say, but it can be something if you're for it. Again, different strokes for different folks. And that's if you want generational.
That's if you think that far ahead. Yeah.
If you think that, some people do.
Yeah, of course.
But you gotta be able to swing it. But at the same time, where most people are like, dude, I'm just trying to get the car done, bro. Like, I'm just trying to do this. I'm just trying to get the lights on at the shop. I'm just trying to get a little ahead. I get that too, right? It's like, don't do that. Yeah, do what you can do.
Yeah, do what you can do. Like you said, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan, it seems like we are now at the end of the show.
Perfect.
And at the end of every show, I like to give an opportunity to my guests by asking, is there anything that you want to leave anybody listening with?
Go to church. Well, go to church if you're inclined to do so, but I recommend it. It's always, whether you're religious or not, go to church. There's some good things. And even if you don't go to church, listen to some type of sermon online. It'll make you feel better. If you're having a bad day, put on a comedy show because it's really hard to feel bad if you're laughing. So if you're ever having a bad day, put on something that'll make you laugh. Call people daily. Call the people you know, love, respect, and have genuine conversations. Reach out. I think a lot of people don't reach out enough nowadays. And just do your best. A good book, one of my favorite books, The 4 Agreements. You ever read The 4 Agreements?
I've heard of it.
4 Agreements is, Don Miguel Ruiz. Mm-hmm. First agreement is be impeccable with your word.
Mm-hmm. Have integrity.
Magical. Our words are magic. We can speak black magic or we can speak white magic. If you want to speak negative, negative things will happen. If you want to speak positive, positive things will happen. Right? You know, don't take anything personal. Somebody says, you know, F you. It's not a reflection of you. It's somebody's having a bad day. Don't assume. Don't assume things. Again, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, right? And the fourth agreement is just do your best. If you lay your head on your pillow at night and you reflect upon your day and you genuinely felt like you did your best, you will go to sleep feeling good and happy. Caveat is, even if you didn't try your best and you fell short, tomorrow's another day to, again, be impeccable with your word. Don't assume. Don't take anything personal. Just do your best. So with that being said, just everybody do your best. Love that neighbor.
Hell yeah, baby. That's a good one. That's a great way to finish it off. Thank you for that one. And now if anybody wants to get a hold of you for any financial information or anything, how can they get a hold of you? How can they reach you? And do you make content?
I don't make content.
Okay, cool.
I've tried to make content. You know, it's just, you know.
I think you'd be good at it. I don't know. I think you have the personality for it. You should give it a shot.
I have given it a shot.
Give it more shots.
Yeah, I gotta give it more shots. I gotta get a little bit more in tune with it.
I think it'd be good in helping you with helping more people.
Yeah, I've been told that. A lot of people say that. It's just my own nerves, and it's really hard. I could do this all day. You want to talk, you want to have a conversation, you have questions, I have answers. But to look at the camera and just try to come up with things at the top of my head, not that great. But if the camera could talk, I'd be able to.
You'd be able to guide it. Okay.
I'd be able to do that.
Perfect. So if anybody needed to reach you, how can they reach you?
My Instagram, follow me on Instagram. There's some content on there. It's at your _moneyman _Jonathan. My phone number, I'm not going to give out my phone number. But email is jespinoza07@ft.newyorklife.com. Yeah. You can reach out, hit up Joe. If you got Joe's information, hit up Joe.
Yeah, hit me up. I'll definitely pass
if there's a will, there's a way. You could also Google me. Google Jonathan Espinoza, financial service professional, registered rep. You can find me on Google. There's a lot of information on me online. Yeah, there's a will, there's a way. You'll find me if you want to find me.
Cool. Hell yeah, babe. Well, thank you for that.
I appreciate the opportunity, man. It's good talking to you.
Of course, man. Hell yeah. I mean, with that said, I just want to, like always, leave the show off with thanking the current one and only sponsor that we have for the podcast, which is the original Clip Joint Barbershop. We have a location in Covina, another one in San Dimas. So if you're in the SGV area, you'll know where one of our clip joints are at. You know, you can find us. We just launched our new branded app. So if you go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, you can now download the original Clip Joint Barbershop app, which now makes it easier for you to book directly through an app rather than having to go online. As always, we don't charge anything extra for appointment. And if you call the shop, you will speak directly to the owner, whether it's to give you technical support, set you up with an appointment, help you reschedule, anything you need. Anytime you call, you'll either speak directly to me in Covina or directly to Jasmine in San Dimas. And with that said, Jonathan, appreciate you, brother.
Also, if you
always a pleasure.
If you like the fade.
Yep. There's gonna be a video. There's gonna be a video on there of me cutting his hair earlier today.
That's what it was. So
hey, it's pretty cool, bro, because you're the second person I've done it to so far. That's it. I've only 2 guests have I cut their hair right before coming into the podcast.
Oh, see, there you go.
So that was fucking dope. It was dope. It's cool because it gives us the opportunity to like really like talk to each other and chop it up before.
Yeah,
warm up. So that was cool, man. Thank you for coming in for that. That was awesome.
It's a stretch before the game.
Oh yeah, baby.
Appreciate you,
bro. Thank you. Peace.